So for those of you who weren't here 5 minutes ago when I was doing this, I went through this entire exercise and then discovered, much to my disappointment, that I forgot to press record on the USB stick, which is where the particular output of all of the things I'm doing is showing up. Let's talk about this. So recently I got rid of my old Mackie D8B and all of the associated recording equipment, and I picked up a Behringer Wing because it seemed interesting. It has 144 inputs and outputs, which is pretty useful for some of the weird things I do. So I got this thing, didn't know a whole lot about it, and wanted to start playing with some of the toys. So I got into the compressors the other day, and I was noticing they've got emulations of all sorts of things that for legal reasons are called other things. And got into wearing headphones again, which is just fun. I like wearing headphones and talking into microphones, which makes you think everything you're saying is important. Makes you feel pretty special. But anyway, let's get down to it. So any device that you're using for any kind of live microphone or recording, you need a compressor. You need something to level out your voice so that you don't overdrive things and you don't underdrive things, especially if you're doing on-air voiceovers, etc. Now this guy's got a bunch of stuff. This is the Wing compressor, which actually sounds really good. I'm not doing anything just to hit threshold, and I'm not really doing anything to it other than that. And it's surprisingly good sounding, but you have to think about the fact that if you look at the stuff they've got, they have emulated DBX products, Red products, Drummer products. No, well, not really. Eventide, no, they didn't do that. Or Yuri, I don't know. They were doing a lot of stuff. But having done all that, they probably took some of that into account when they developed their own compressor. Now, the cool thing with this console is all of these devices are available on all channels. So this isn't one where you got one or two really nice compressors and you can only use them in one or two places. So I thought that was pretty exciting, so I wanted to start playing with it. And I did play with this with voice, some bass guitar. Haven't gotten hooking up a drum set to it, but every compressor has its specialties. And one of the ones I really liked in the past in the studios I worked in was the DBX 160, which is now considered a, vintage compressor or something. So when you get into it a little bit and you start really getting into its compression, you have to do a little makeup gain to get it back. It really warms up your voice. And even though I'm not EQing anything at the moment, it sounds like I am. So let's skip from that one over to the old DBX 560 sound, which once again is a thing where if you really start to compress it hard, it's surprisingly warm and kind of musical sounding. Behaves very much like the DBX 560. Now that particular guy, when you load it, takes a while, which means the emulation is doing something more from a software standpoint. And this is a drummer simulation, would be my guess. I could be wrong about that. It's hard to say. But anyway, as you play with this thing and you listen to it, it sounds a lot like drummers that I've used in the past. It has a little bit of 1K to 1.5K crunchiness, which can be a really nice thing, depending on your voiceover work. Getting into the Red device, which is, once again, couldn't possibly be any kind of a version of another unit out there that's of a similar name. But it has a really nice kind of warm mid thing going on, and it takes some of the sibilance out, oddly enough, considering it's not a sibilance reducer, but different sound. When I got into the Soul compressor, it made me think I have to do some kind of late night DJ thing. It just seemed like the right thing to do, but I I got to get into it and talk into it. You notice this guy really, if you really warm into it, it lets you have a really big voice, takes some sibilance out right away by the way its algorithm is working, and I'm not quite sure what that is. The Soul G has a different sound, and let's really step into it. Get some output gain compensation. This is a nice sounding thing. If you, once again, you want a big sound without a whole lot of high frequencies, if you really crunch into this thing hard. Now, if you lighten it up a little bit and take less out, it tends to sound a little more natural. The not eventide compressor couldn't possibly be an eventide or even a simulation. As you get into it, it has a very, very natural sound. I think this would be great for a lot of vocal work. And it's got all kinds of gadgets on it. You can, slow attack, fast attack, things that I'm sure you can do a lot more than what I'm doing with it, because I've been told to keep my videos short. There's some people that I work with that think that's important. So anyway, this is Eternal Bliss. I have no idea why. To be honest, of all the ones that are in here, it's the least interesting to me because it really sounds kind of like normal. My favorite one, and it's too loud now for some reason. Let me lower that out, raise the input gain to get it to compress more. This is emulating what was in the past was called a limiting amplifier, which is something that was really good at just keeping things level and not doing a whole lot. But I like it because it has a very warm sound. It's emulating a tube device, and it's doing a really nice job of it, I think. The old Uri LA2 sound, which once again was more of a leveling amplifier, and it is a nice sound. I used to like this not only on vocals, but I also liked it on bass guitar. It doesn't have a whole lot of adjustments on it, but when you get a bass guitar on it, it can really be a nice sound. The Fair Kid, and let's get into it a little harder. Oh, it's the reverse threshold thing. Right? That's it. Input, gain, out. Check, 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 check. Now this guy, this is a Fairchild fake. It really is a nice sound. I mean, when you kick this thing in and out, it doesn't seem like it's doing anything, but it is keeping the levels trimmed. And I think if I were to hit this thing harder, check, 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 really got into it hard, it's still pretty natural sounding. So the Fair Kid I kind of like. This thing I was playing with, and to be honest with you, I could not make it do anything. So I don't know what it is really doing. But I've never played with the analog version of this, so I have a feeling this is supposed to be some kind of distressor kind of thing. Check, 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 check. Supposed to do some kind of... Now, nuke is one of the settings there, so I don't know what happens if you go to nuke. Nuke is a little weird. Wow, that brings up the background noise around here really well. But at 3-to-1, it just, if you hit it really, really hard, it just seems to crunch. Might be kind of cool for a guitar. Auto Rider is an interesting gadget because it's got a target function. And I haven't played with it a lot, but I have a feeling that once you set a target, and I don't know what the target is here, set the target like stupid down, and let's set the target stupid up. If I set the target stupid up, it's not letting me get there because of my threshold adjustment or something. So I have a feeling this one takes some getting used to, but I think as a automatic leveling device, for example, which maybe is what it's designed for, it's got some interesting capabilities. And then the Wave Designer I have not played with. I have a feeling it's got a whole lot more that it can do than some of these other things. Not quite sure what it's for. Sustain? Yeah, it's got some weird things going on. But the interesting thing to me is I'm listening to like the limiter amp in and out. I have no idea how badly my fingers are getting in the way of this video. Then I listen to the Wing Compressor, which is the factory off-the-shelf compressor. And I listen to it, and in and out, it just very, very not even there. So they've given you this large group of devices available on every channel of the console, which is just an amazing amount of actual processing power. And I was just interested in it, so I threw this little video together. Hope this has been helpful. There's a lot of Wing videos out there. A lot of them are probably way more extensive than what this is. But as I start playing with this, I'll probably put little videos together about what I think of it as I go.